Namandavats, 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 namandavats. Welcome to the OCBC November Shotsukihoyo service. This is to honor all the Sangha members and all the loved ones who've passed away in the month of November. First, for the order of service, we will introduce the names and we will present them to the Buddha on the Naijin to show our deepest respect and gratitude for those who have come and passed before us. Then we will chant Sambujo on page 29 and then Jusege on page 39. And during this time, you can go to your altar at home and offer incense and chant along with us. And then I will give a Dharma talk. And then we will close this service for the month of November. So all the names that have passed away in November are recorded in this document. And we do this every month to honor those and remember our loved ones. And we place this with deep respect and gratitude on the Naijin. Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So, Namo Amidavats, Namandavats, 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 Namandavats. Namandavats, 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 Namandavats. Pujo mina nyorai niu no jo Shaka nyorai niu no jo
가곤 조세감 이심을 조도 시간 부만조 세프 조쇼가 가 오무려고 부인할 세주 부사이 쇼빙구 세프 조쇼가 가시조부츠도 묘쇼 조지포 극교미 쇼몬 세프 조쇼가 리오쿠진 초넨 조에 슈봉교 시금을 조도 이쇼텐인치 진리기 엔다이코 부셔무사이도 쇼조산 금요 고사이슈 야쿠난 가이치에겐 메시코모안 해소쿠쇼 아쿠도 쯔다츠젠 슈몬 고소조만조 이요로지포 니치가츠슈주키 텐코온푸겐 이슈카이 오조 고세크도크호 조오나이슈추 세포시시크 그요이자이부츠 그소크슈토크혼 간내시츠조만 토크 이상가요 묘부츠무게치 쯔다츠미푸쇼 강가쿠에리 도시사이쇼손 시간야코카 다이센노간도 고큐쇼텐닌 도으침묘게 나만다부 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 Namandabu, Namandabu, Namandabu. Ganishikudoku, Byodose Isai, No Onbonai Ishin, Ojo an Lako. Namandavats, 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 namandavats. Namandavats, namandavats, namandavats. So I wanted to mention that in America, we tend to over-focus on our Dharma talks as the most important thing for a service is the message and the doctrine and the teaching. But in Japan, what is very important is the practice of ritual. So everything is done the same way every time. It's important for rituals to be reproducible. And when we chant, it's an offering for those who passed away in November. We also bring offerings of flowers that were done by Reverend Dr. Mutsumi Wondra. And I brought the osonae. I brought apples and lemons. It's an odd combination, but today I hope to make lemonade out of lemons. It's been a very difficult time. There's a lot of stress. I even have an election cold sore on my lip. And what I wanted to talk about today was practicing habits. I love this title. I made it up. It's a little bit of a paradox. I mean, practicing habits would be easy, right? If it's a habit, you could practice effortlessly without thought. It's an easy practice if you can make things into a habit. So because we live in the United States and we're a Protestant Christian country, we tend to focus on the what, the doctrine, the beliefs. We focus on texts and literature. But right now, I think we need to focus on the other half of Buddhism and have some balance on the how. How do we practice? How do we chant? How do we become Buddhists? How do we walk the path? And so that's what I would like to talk about today. I think sometimes in America we don't pay attention to the how. I get a lot of what and why questions, but not a lot of people worry about the how. How do you get there? How do you walk the path? And also, we're nearing Thanksgiving. We will be grateful. We're nearing Christmas, and we will be gentle and compassionate. And then we will come to New Year's Eve. And that's when we make large, grand resolutions for the year. And they're difficult, and they do not last long. So one of the Sangha members sent me this cartoon, Angus and Phil, by Annie Taylor Lebel. I don't know the names of these characters. I'm not well versed. I guess it's Angus and Phil. So I hope Angus is the big one and Phil's the little one. The dog says, "What exactly is a New Year's resolution?" And the answer is, it's a to-do list for the first week of January. I love this cartoon. All around my neighborhood, that first week of January, everybody's out jogging, riding their bikes, joining a gym, going to practice, to lose weight, to get their blood pressure down, to go on a diet. But what oftentimes happens when we make New Year's resolutions is we state the goal, but there's no path. So you could say, I want to lose 10 pounds, but it's not that helpful. How are you going to do it? What steps are you going to take? It would be better to say, I'm going to only have dessert on Saturday night. That's what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to have one brownie and not two. Concrete, actionable steps. I'm going to drink my coffee black this year. Something simple. So there's a video out there on the internet. It's a TED Talk. It's also on YouTube, I think. It's called Forget Big Change, Start with a Tiny Habit. And this is by BJ Fogg. And he gives a lot of examples. He says it's not that we don't know how to do things, it's that we haven't made them into a habit. And one of the ones he mentions is flossing your teeth. I can't go to bed at night if I don't brush my teeth because I've made it a habit. I don't have to think about it. I actually get out of bed if I have forgotten. I've got to go to bed after I've brushed my teeth. But I've never really done that with floss. I do floss sometimes. When I go to the dentist, I floss before I go. And when she asks me, have I been flossing? I look her in the eye and I say with confidence, yes, I have been. I just don't tell her it was today, this morning. I don't want her to know that. So he suggests flossing one tooth a day, just one tooth, until it becomes automatic and it becomes a habit. Instead of saying, I'm going to run a marathon or I'm going to run 5 miles, say something like, I'm going to take my dog for a walk. We're just going to go for a walk. It could be a block. It could be 5 minutes. I'm just going to take my dog for a walk. Something so easy, it's impossible not to do. We all know how to walk. It's just making it a habit that makes it very difficult. So this is his behavior grid. It's very complicated. It is a 4x5. So I think there's 20 squares in there. I was a math major at UCLA. 20 squares is too many. A consultant once told me that when you give a presentation, you can have at most 4 squares. You can have a 2x2. So what he does is vertically, he talks about behaviors. So the first column is a new behavior, something you've never done before. The next one is doing a familiar behavior. Purple is to increase the intensity. Like I'm going to walk faster, I'm going to walk farther. Gray behaviors are to decrease behavior intensity or duration. So I'm not going to lose my temper and yell. I'm going to communicate in a soft voice. Black is difficult. It's to stop doing the behavior completely. So going cold turkey is a strategy. These are all strategies, but it's very difficult to go cold turkey. To go cold turkey, you need lots and lots of motivation. And then what he does is he talks about duration. So he says that most of these behaviors of these 5, we could do if they're dot behaviors. That means you just have to do them one time. Like one night, I'm not going to have dessert. 1 week, I'm going to drink my coffee black. 1 week, I'm going to do better on washing the dishes. When my wife looks in the dish drainer, there's not going to be food still stuck to the plate. So I'm going to increase my intensity, my focus. You can do this and be quite successful one time. So these would be the big things. You could run a marathon one time. Then there's span behaviors. These are things you can do for 40 days. So the same columns, but you could easily do more housework for 40 days. There's a lot of things I could do for 40 days. And a lot of people do this. They go on an Atkins diet. They go on a keto diet. they totally rearrange the way they eat for 40 days. But then they go back to their old habits. Or I could lose weight. I yo-yo a lot. So I know I can do this. I lose 10 pounds and I gain 10 pounds. And I lose 10 pounds and I gain 10 pounds. On my Fitbit, you can look at my weight and it looks like a sine curve. So I'm very good at losing weight, 40 days and then 6 months off. 40 days, 6 months off. And then down below is the one we're looking at for long-term change. And this isn't a coincidence. It's called a path. These are path behaviors. And it's done from now on for the rest of your life. And the only way to be successful, according to BJ Fogg, is where I have this red highlighted square. It's doing a familiar behavior from now on. So you can't do new behaviors. They're too hard. Increasing intensity requires a lot of motivation, and motivation is like rocket fuel. It's very powerful, but it burns up quickly. So what BJ Fogg says is if you want to do a path behavior that you can maintain for the rest of your life, substantial change, you have to find a way to do a behavior you already know how to do, that you're very familiar with, and it also has to be very easy. It has to be something you know how to do and something easy. Doing 1 push-up a day, doing 10 sit-ups a day, flossing that one tooth that's giving you trouble. And the hope is that over time, this becomes a lifestyle and a habit and a path. And he claims this is the only square that shows success on this path row. So this is the Fogg behavior model. On the left-hand side, vertically, is motivation from high to low. And on the horizontal axis, I love graphs because I'm a math major, is ability. So you have hard to do and you have easy to do. And then the green line is where action starts. And the idea is it below that action line, you fail. And above it, you succeed. So what you really want to do is find something that takes low motivation and is very easy to do. And then it doesn't take much of a prompt to get you to take action. And if you do this over a long period of time, it naturally begins to shift from kind of a chore to something that is just a habit. It's just a natural thing that you do. And this reminds me a lot of Jodo Shinshu. We already know how to listen. That's not the problem. We just have to make it a habit to listen to the teachings. It's not a new ability. It's just something that we need to do maybe 5 minutes a day. Maybe you read one section of a Thich Nhat Hanh book every night before you go to bed. Listen to the teachings in a very easy, natural way until it becomes something that you look forward to. And I found this video on YouTube. It's from a series called Better Than Yesterday, One Step at a Time. And it's called Accomplish Everything with Mini Habits. And I wanted to read you a couple of the comments on YouTube. One person said, "We tend to overestimate what we can do in a day, and we underestimate what we can do in a lifetime." It says here, the Japanese have a saying, sooner than you think, discipline will beat effort. I love this one. The hardest part of jogging is putting on your shoes. One person said, ironically, I had this video in my watch list for months. There's another one that says, consistency always beats intensity. Mary Poppins used to say, a job well begun is already half done. So I'd like to show you this video. It's a clip. It's about 2.5 minutes, and it has subtitles.
Starting something is often the biggest problem we have when it comes to productivity. But once we start and gain a bit of momentum, it's much easier to keep on going. If you have an expectation to clean your entire room, you might never get around to do it because the thought of doing all that work seems daunting. Instead, you want to commit to something super easy, like organizing your desk. When you do that, you'll find it much easier to continue since you have already started. You might then get some extra motivation and do some more cleaning. But even if you don't feel like doing anything else afterwards, you still did something, which is more than nothing. And this type of a minimalistic approach will get you more results in the long run than the typical approach. A typical habit usually looks like this. You set a big goal where the expectation from yourself is high. The first few days go fine as you feel motivated. Then, whoopsie, you had to miss a day because something else came up. However, you managed to get another good day in. But again, life gets in the way and you had to miss 2 days in a row. And this continues on, until you can't bring yourself to do the habit any longer and it falls apart. Now, a minimal habit looks like this. You set a goal for yourself, but it's an extremely small goal and the expectation is low. So low, in fact, that it's super easy to do it every day. You always do a little, but sometimes you have time and energy to do more. And even if life gets in the way, you're able to do the mini version no matter what because it's so minuscule. Essentially, you never miss a day. So even after months, you're still going and continuing the habit. Basically, you commit to the minimum effort towards a goal, but make it highly frequent. And in the long run, mini habits pay off much more than typical habits. Now, I encourage you to find something that you're constantly procrastinating on and apply the mini habit concept there. Make the habit so small that you'll never have a problem starting it. So whatever that might be, studying, building a business, exercising, writing, meditating, or cleaning, make the goal so small that you cannot fail. Study for 1 minute, do 1 push-up, read 1 page. Remember, objects in motion stay in motion. Motivation to continue will come after starting.
Okay, so I'm sure everybody has trouble getting their kids to clean their room. Another big problem is learning how to write, be a good writer. I read that what you do is you just write a page a day. Read a page a day. And then once you start, you might read 10 pages. You might read 20 pages. The other thing is you don't focus on the goal. You try to enjoy reading rather than trying to finish a book. You eat healthy. You have a good diet, but you're not on a diet. You don't weigh yourself every day and then eat a brownie when you hit your goal weight. It's not about your weight. It's about a way of life. So there's another really good article on the internet from 2014 called "The Number One Reason Good Habits Don't Last" by Max Ogles. It's basically the same type of message. You pick something that's incredibly hard, you stick with it for a week or two, and then you fail. So he lists some of the examples he's had. For 2 months, I went running 3 to 4 times each week. I even ran a half marathon. Then I quit running and didn't run again for over a year. I decided to improve my reading speed and comprehension. I read every day, practicing with a course called Breakthrough Rapid Reading. I quit after the first month. I finally created a habit of waking up early. For 3 months, I woke up at 5:30 a.m. every day. Sleep debt and laziness caught up with me. Now it's hard to get up before 7:30. So, all these things were span or dot behaviors, but they never translated into path behaviors. And then what I really liked about this article is it had my 2x2 matrix that consultant told me about. This one's a lot easier to understand. What you want to do is you want to find a behavior that you already do, and and then it becomes easy to maintain, and you enjoy it, and then it's very easy to change. So basically, this is the strategy, I think, of our tradition, Jodo Shinshu. It's called the easy path. It doesn't mean that you don't have to do anything, and it doesn't mean that we don't have any practices. It's that the practices we have are behaviors we already know, they're easy to do, and they're not Herculean, and they become habits. And once you're on the path and it becomes a way of life, as Mary Poppins would say, the task is already half done. You're on your way. It's just a matter of time now, and you don't have to worry about a goal. And the other argument you could make is that awakening itself is listening to the Dharma, saying Namo Amida Butsu, chanting the Jusege. These activities is itself awakening. That there isn't some finish line out there that you have to cross, and then you can stop being a Buddhist. Practice is what we do. It's an activity. It's not a state. And so I hope you think about this. If you're having difficulty during the political environment right now, waiting every night and wondering what the election is going to turn out to be, one thing you could try is, I'm just not going to watch any political videos right now. I'm not going to go to CNN every day. I'm going to cut down on my social media. Those things are very helpful. And what's nice about YouTube is if you do cut down on those things, YouTube will help you. On my phone, all I have on my watch list is funny doggy videos, little babies talking for the first time. I also have videos on the universe and how's it expanding in cosmology. There's a documentary called The Social Dilemma on Netflix. I'm not going down any rabbit holes except for funny, cute baby and animal videos and science and math. So it's become a habit. I'm not pestered anymore by things I really don't want to be watching. So these things do work. They have a big impact, but it needs to be a gradual change. Like maybe find a replacement for those videos. You could still go on Facebook and you could still go on YouTube, but you just watch different content. You can breathe. We all know how to breathe. We can walk. Walking right now is supposed to be a great way to relieve anxiety. My dog is in the best shape she's ever been in. She's super fit. And so I believe that we develop bad habits over a long period of time, doing little behaviors until they become ingrained within us. And I think the Buddha knew that. He's not trying to change human nature. He's giving us a new set of habits, a new set of activities that will become ingrained with us and have long-term, from now on, change. Thank you very much. Please close with Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda. So I wanted to thank you for attending November's Shotsukihoyo. We have this every first Saturday of the month, unless it collides with a holiday weekend, like 4th of July, Thanksgiving. Then we'll move it to the second Saturday of the month. But it's a wonderful group memorial service where everyone who's lost someone that month can see and relate and realize they're not alone in their grief. They're not a victim. It's part of life, and we heal together. This is another important habit. Thank you very much. Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.